Happy New Year, everyone! Welcome to 2014 and the first Regurgitated news for this year. You might have noticed on the Game Skinny website that we're doing a contest for the month of January to review your Game of the Year. I am personally not participating in this contest, but and I didn't really want to talk about my Game of the Year because it's the same as everybody else's Game of the Year picks that they're doing right now. Nothing really too different from the crowd. So I was pondering this over a cup of coffee, and something about this time of year, you notice there's pumpkin spice in everything. There's pumpkin spice coffee, donuts, whatever. I wouldn't be surprised if somebody put it on a pizza at this point. But what is it about pumpkin spice that's so great, right? Because it's in everything this time of year. And it got me to thinking, well, what's the video game equivalent of pumpkin spice? And as you can probably see, the game running behind me right now is not your typical Super Smash Bros. Brawl. It is the pumpkin spiced up version of it, which is Project M. So, rather than doing a Game of the Year, I am just gonna do my 5 favorite video game mods from 2013.
Number 5.
Now, of course, naturally, I could do this entire list based solely on Skyrim. It's definitely one of the most modded games out there and has one of the best modding communities I've ever seen for any video game ever. But to be fair, I'm just going to whittle it down to one Skyrim mod. And so my number 5 mod on this list is the Fall Scar mod for the Elder Scrolls Skyrim. There's a lot of weird mods for Skyrim. There's things like Thomas the Train Engine and Battletoads and all sorts of funny things that's more along my lines, but this one caught my attention just from the mass scope of it. It adds like 20 to 30 hours of gameplay to the game. They hired actual voice actors for new dialogue. It's a new quest. It's a new hold. It's just amazing the amount of content it holds. And I'll just go ahead and run the trailer as I talk about it a little bit. So actually, when I said there was a new hold, it's actually the new area is the size of 2 to 3 Skyrim holds. There's 26 quests, including 9 long main quest stories and 17 side quests. New items, books, recipes, weapons, armors, new spells, a new shout. They came up with bard songs, a soundtrack, and all this new voice work. So that alone is amazing, besides the fact that the guy who made this mod is a 19-year-old kid. And so what he did this mod as was basically his, I wouldn't say application, but I guess like a demo reel to get a job at Bethesda, to show what he's capable of doing. A couple months went by after this story went out there that, hey, 19-year-old makes this amazing Skyrim mod to catch Bethesda's attention. As of November, he did actually get a job with Bungie. So, great for him. He's probably going to be working on Destiny. I think his official title is something like Associate Art Director or Associate Designer. So, great, 19 years old, showed some initiative, made an amazing mod, and now he's working at Bungie. I mean, how can you not love that?
Number 4.
So my number 4 pick is technically not a mod, since it's officially made by the same company that the original game was made by. But screw it. It's my list. I can do whatever I want with it. So my number 4 pick is Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon. So how do I even start explaining Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon? It's essentially an homage to 80s action movies. So you've got a ridiculously named main character, Sergeant Rex Power Colt, and he's voiced and modeled after 80s action star Michael Biehn. You probably know him from the Terminator and Aliens. And the game just doesn't take itself seriously. Rather than just adding on a few tacked on missions or like a side story to Far Cry 3, they just went all out and just totally reskinned the game in this crazy scanline, neon colored, dreamlike world with giant dragons that shoot lasers, and it's awesome. It's probably in my top 5 games this year, even though it was just a downloadable, not even an expansion pack. It was separate from Far Cry 3. It just ran on the same engine. But it has all the criteria of a great mod. I mean, it takes what was great about Far Cry 3 and just sort of flips it on its ear a little bit with an entirely different look, a different feel, but it's still Far Cry, and it's incredibly fun. It's affordable, and it's a great game. So Blood Dragon is definitely a must-play game for anybody who remembers the 80s or just likes to play a good game.
Number 3.
So my number 3 choice is kind of a retro choice, being that it's a mod for a game that's over 15 years old. However, it's Duke Nukem Forever. And that's not to be confused with the 2011 Duke Nukem Forever that was released by Gearbox. This is a mod for Duke Nukem 3D that is how the mod creators originally envisioned Duke Nukem Forever to be made. In case you didn't know, the 2011 Duke Nukem Forever sucked. It was terrible. The game had switched across multiple developers. Who knows how many times they scrapped it and rebuilt it, and it was just terrible. Like, if you thought Aliens Colonial Marines was bad from Gearbox, this game is probably even worse than that. It was just a big old turd, and you can actually pick up turds and throw them if that's your thing in the game. But Duke Nukem Forever, the mod, is actually pretty good. It's kind of funny. One of my earliest experiences with a mod was the original Duke Nukem 3D way back when. I remember playing a mod that reskinned it like the anime Bubblegum Crisis, and to me that was like the coolest thing back then, that I'm playing Duke Nukem 3D, but I'm in like this mech suit with a bunch of Japanese voices. It was awesome. So here we are many years later, and we're getting Duke Nukem Forever running on that engine. And the sad thing is, it's way better than Gearbox's attempt at making Duke Nukem Forever. So that's what's great about mods. If the developer sort of screws it up, leave it to the fans to go in there and fix what the developers either didn't have the resources to do, or they just didn't care. They wanted to shovel it out. No doubt Gearbox will be making yet another Duke Nukem title, since they own the franchise now. And hopefully they take a few nods from the mod and try to make it retro, make it funny. My main complaint about the 2011 Duke Nukem 3D is they took Duke Nukem seriously. They acted like he was this video game icon or whatever, and he's a parody. You know, he spouts lines like Ash from Evil Dead, and he's a joke character. You're not supposed to take Duke Nukem too seriously, and that's what was great about this mod. If it was actually funny, where Gearbox's Duke Nukem was just sad. So if you can get your hands on a copy of Duke Nukem 3D, I think Good Old Games has it for a couple bucks. Definitely go check out this mod. It is fantastic.
Number 2.
Okay, so on to number 2. Is actually the game you saw playing in the background at the beginning of the video, Project M. So what is Project M? Well, number 1, it's like, hey, wait a minute, this is a console game that has a mod? And the answer is yes. It is a mod for Super Smash Brothers Brawl on Wii. And it's a really long story about the competitive scene of Super Smash Brothers Melee. I will put a link to an excellent, I think 9 or 10 part documentary series that they did on the Melee community. Surprisingly, well, I shouldn't say surprisingly, but many people don't know how intricate you can play Super Smash Brothers Melee on a competitive level. It actually wasn't originally intended to be played that way, but some creative guys figured out I wouldn't say a glitch, but just certain ways of playing the game that they didn't originally intend, or at least Nintendo didn't intend it to be played. And so there's been a huge competitive community for a very long time. Brawl was kind of a disappointment. Didn't play quite the same way. So those same passionate, creative fans started modding Brawl. Not only did they bring back missing characters like Mewtwo and Roy, they sped the whole thing up, and they retooled the move list. It's just amazing what they've done on Project M so far. Currently, they're on version 3.0, and still with many changes to come. Personally, I kind of suck at Smash Brothers, because I'm more of a traditional fighting game player. I'm used to playing with a stick and buttons. Playing on an analog stick just feels foreign to me. But the cool thing is, you can actually play Project M online against other people. You can play it on a Wii, or you'll have to put it on an SD card and use homebrew, or you can play it through emulation, like it's playing right there in the background. It's amazing, and I think the cool thing about it is there's a lot of worries about the next official Super Smash Brothers, Smash Brothers for Wii and 3DS. Which characters are going to be cut? Is it going to play competitively? You won't be able to use a GameCube controller anymore, which is kind of a big deal to competitive Smash Brothers players. So it's cool that Brawl has sort of become this open source engine for fans to make Smash Brothers the way they want it, in a way that it can be played very interestingly and competitively, and the scene will continue to live on for a very long time, regardless of what Sakurai and Nintendo does with the series. So the amount of work and detail in Project M, my hat's off to the entire team that's working on it. They've even added things like alt costumes and moves. I wouldn't be surprised if there's new characters added in later. There's still no Pichu in it. Who knows what else they have in store, but it's amazing. If you've ever been interested in Smash Brothers, not even from a competitive level, it's still, if you're a Smash Brothers scrub like me, it's still fun to play. So definitely go check out Project M if you have a copy of Smash Brothers Brawl. It's one of the best mods I've seen. Definitely 3.0 is the number 2 mod from 2013 for me. So here we are at number 1, and it shouldn't come to much of a surprise that it's something Street Fighter related. Actually, since Street Fighter 4 has been released on PC, there's been a pretty decent modding community surrounding it, and it's interesting to see the evolution of it, where it just started off as maybe just changing around textures and colors a bit, to now where they can swap out entire character models, add geometry, alter geometry, change backgrounds. I mean, it's a fully moddable game. And what was interesting about Street Fighter Cross Tekken when it released is it's running on the same engine. So the exact same tools can be used to mod it. Ironically, those tools were used by some creative individual to discover the DLC on the disc. Whoever he was, I think he deserves a pat on the back. But back to modding. The quality of the mods are pretty amazing, and I didn't really go into this earlier, but there's basically 2 categories of mods. There's the kind that will change gameplay, or there's the kind that are solely cosmetic. While Street Fighter 4 has had some cool gameplay mods, like most recently they've been modding Super Street Fighter 4 AE 2012 to play like the changes that they're going to be adding to Ultra Street Fighter later this year. So that's super cool that they can do that. There's even like a combo trainer that'll teach you the timing and everything. But I'm just going for strictly cosmetic, because how cool is it to be like Mass Effect characters, Mortal Kombat characters, Marvel, DC, Metal Gear, yeah, you name it. There's so many awesome characters added to this. Like I'm not even going to go into it too much, because I have made an epic 6-minute trailer that I just couldn't resist of all the coolest mods. But so that's my number 1 pick. The trailer's going to end this out. I will say one cool thing about Street Fighter Cross Tekken, being able to add in so many different characters. It reminds me of Mugen, which is a 2D fighting game engine that I've personally been involved with in the past. If you Google my name along with Mugen, you'll see something way back when that I made early attempts at 2D animation. But there's basically a 3D version of Mugen out now called Project Ep006 that was made by some Japanese developers. Really cool stuff. It's basically like an open source 3D fighting game engine. So I hope a lot of these guys that are doing Street Fighter Cross Tekken mods that are such high quality, I hope they'll be able to port over some 3D characters, Project Ep006, and just sort of make this like mashup, cool 3D fighting game that has like Sega, Namco, Capcom, Konami, just any character you could possibly imagine in it. But until then, we've got Street Fighter Cross Tekken, and I'll let the awesomeness play out this video. So there you go, Mod of the Year 2013, Street Fighter Cross Tekken, the entire modding community. You've earned the Pumpkin Spice Award for 2013. And on that, I will see you guys later.
Candy, 準備はいい？もちろんだ。
余裕ぶっこいてると怪我するぜ。
I'll be done with you before 2. bit longer?
そうだ行くぞクロー
しゃあないな。これでしまいや。なあ、私にやらせてくれ。
貴様のゲームなくなさい
それはこっちのセリフ。さあ、ショーの始まりだよ。
お腹が減った命をかける熱心だぞ
本気でかかってきてね。言いかけ直しじゃ殺すよ。スタンバイオーケー。
レスパー
そらそら。
I guess I found the right suspect.
Best in the universe check it out 発生しよう
こんなところで負けていられないの。